There was an extremely strange murder case in the small town, and all the policemen who came out of it were scared to death. When the police chief arrived, the first thing the subordinate said was, "You're not complete as a detective." The coworkers suggested that this case be handed over to the Federal Investigation Bureau because they had never seen such a terrible murder scene. They saw their mother and 2 children tied to a chair, and their mouths were full of tears. On one side, there was a freshly baked pie, and the source of these ingredients was provided by the father of the owner of the family. He was marinated by the murderer and sent to the oven, and then it turned into grinning face with big eyes, delicious smoked meat on the table. The face was cut into ham slices, and the liver was marinated with it. The most fascinating thing is that the murderer made the baby at home into a pot of meat soup, but let all the policemen waste it. The scene is extremely clean. All the DNAs are from the victim's family. There is no fingerprint, and there is no ingredient for cleaning and bleaching. It means that the murderer has not cleaned it. This is almost impossible. And the only evidence is a pile of strange ink on the ground. He was sent to the Emergency Control Center to be examined. For the time being, there is no result. Even the expert team sent by the above can't find anything wrong, because they didn't leave any clues behind. More surprising, the victim's family is clean and white. There is no enemy. The black sister thinks that the murderer must have done something similar before. This is OTA grinning face with big eyes. New crime. The method of the scene is too professional. It's called perfect. At this time, the colleague said that he has checked all the records so far and has not found any similar cases. And just at the end of the show, a nun reporter suddenly came to the door. The black sister is very puzzled. When did the Church News beaming face with smiling eyes agency get interested in the murder case? Jean May explains that their organization is very concerned about social justice and belongs to the liberal Catholic. However, the black sister saw through Jean May at a glance. You want to drive traffic to your dwindling online site by talking about murder. The more gruesome, the better. The more traffic. Jean May had no choice but to confess that the victim's family was a former disciple and their teacher was her friend. After knowing this, she thought that the victim's family was trapped by the murderer. Since there was no breakthrough for the time being, Black Sister had a bold idea. She told Jean May the information she could reveal, including the way the male master was cooked and the cause of death of other people. And the death of the mother and 2 children was the most worrisome. The 3 of them all died of heart failure. After that, the police arrived. It was a police report at 3 a.m. from the neighbor of the deceased. He said that the music in the next room was very loud. When Black Sister said that Mozart was playing, Jean May immediately said the name of the music. The Requiem. It's the Requiem? Yes, how did you know? It seemed to fit. Hearing this, the black grinning-faced sister immediately had doubts about the gas and was about to pick up the weapon, but after a test, the black sister found that this was just Jean May's speculation, so she realized that she might be of help to solve the case, so she began to describe the strange, sticky liquid found at the scene. Her smell will change from orange flavor to tiger flavor and then smell like meat, which is also filled with a sharp burnt taste, but Jean May did not think of what it was. The case here has not progressed. Another case again. 3 men were cut off by blue waste and hung on the wall, 2 of whom lost half of their bodies, but the scene was not terrible. The real thing is that there is no trace of blood in the 3 bodies, even if they are hanged, and there is a strange sticky liquid on the ground again, and the Black Sister orders to find the blood. She does not believe that the blood will disappear. It must be hidden or stolen, and asks to send a search dog to help find it. At this time, Roman sex, who the fuck are you? Black Sister immediately drove Jean May out and warned her that this was a crime scene and that most criminals would appear here. What if he stares at you? Aware of the seriousness of the matter, Jean May was scared to turn around and run away, but Black Sister never thought of the fact that she had just arrived at home and noticed that someone had entered the house and started to search for a man's shadow from behind him. After chasing him, he saw a recorder playing a soul-saving song, and when he opened the curtain, he happened to find a man's shadow. Black Sister rushed out, kissing face with smiling eyes without hesitation, saw the man and shot directly, and it seemed that he had not been hit. The next day, Jean May found Black Sister again, and Black Sister said that the person who committed the crime seemed to be playing with them. This feeling is very disturbing. He continued to talk about the results of the annual examination, and he was a high-profile second-hand talker. Jean May thought of something as soon as she heard it. Someone is messing with you. Go on, Cagney to my Lacey. It's what's in acid rain. It's a curse, biblically. It's what's behind the acrid smell you described before. The breath of Yahweh like a stream of brimstone doth kindle it. A third of mankind was killed by these three plagues, by the fire, the smoke, and the brimstone which proceeded out of their mouths. Book of Revelation.
Great.
A religious and placed them in front of the dining table in an extremely cruel way. Some of them were even cut off their arms. This situation once again refreshed the police's awareness. And this is already the fourth murder case. First, a family of 5 was killed. The male owner was severely separated. He was made into a delicacy and fed to his wife and children. Then 3 unrelated people were dried up with blood. The murderer also hung them on the wall. To this day, the police still have no clue. I don't know why the murderer did this. They have never met such a murderer. The murderer seems to be making fun of the entire police system. As the police chief, Black Sister has no idea about this. She can only look for clues all night long. Fortunately, a sweet little girl reminded her, making Black Sister aware of the first murder case, the murderer of a family of 5. Maybe it's their college colleagues. Because only people with medical knowledge can do such a shocking thing. And Jean May also aroused Black Sister's suspicion. Because of the murder case reported by her. It's like a fairy tale. At first glance, Jean May is a madman who loves murder. The next day, Black Sister issued. Wants everyone to check the scene carefully. Even the front door and the crowd. Don't let go on the street. Especially for the unmet blood. Anything that doesn't match the body. It's possible that the murderer left it. It's just because the tool she used to do the case was a scalpel. It's easy to hurt yourself. The great commentator Mike Arthur once said, a lot of cases are made up of small details. Then Black Sister went to the courthouse alone, ready to investigate Jean May. She told Jean May, the murderer may be a colleague of the dead college. However, before she finished, Jean May said Black Sister's idea was wrong. Then the 2 of them came to Jean May's bedroom. She actually made a broken case on the wall. The whole case is marked in detail. Jean May explained that the case was definitely not. The victim may know that they're being followed. But I don't know that I was chosen. The murderer has overtaken the normal life. What he did to the victim. There is only one purpose. That is to summon the end of the world on the way to death. And the murderer sees himself as God. However, breaking the case requires evidence. These are just Jean May's assumptions. Can't prove it at all. But Jean May still insists on her theory. She believes that the police logic of the old Black Sister is outdated. The world is different now. The murderer wants to tell the police, through cruel means, nothing is sacred. No one is safe. Black Sister was about to refute after listening. But Jean May said, Black Sister, I'm lost. Only I can understand his testimony. To understand this monster, you must reach the ecstatic. Although Black Sister does not agree with Jean May's point of view, but she still wants to report it. At this time, Jean May received a call from Black Sister. Black Sister told her, they found blood on the human trail. The suspect has been identified. It is a serial killer who killed dozens of people in the 1990s. And the murderer was sentenced to 21 years in prison. 9 months ago, he was released from prison. Now he lives with his mother. Black Sister thinks he is resuming his job. So he took his horse. He rushed into Sang Biao's house. But when they found Sang Biao, he found that he was already cold. From the condition of the body. At least a few weeks dead. Sang Biao's mother was also tied to one side. Although he is still alive. But the brain is not normal. Open the first sentence of silence. Wake up. Wait until the mother is carried away. There is a word in his mouth. It is the saying in the Bible. Black Sister found Jean May again. Admit your thoughts are all wrong. Now his intuition is of course absent. He is helpless. It turned out that they were all played by the real murderer. The bloodstain found on the scene was left by the murderer on purpose. The purpose is to attract the police to Sang Biao's house. He also boldly left a note and boldly signed the name. What's his name? Grotesquerie. I belong to those who have troubled the fleet of the world. And then, may all your dreams come true. Jean may listen to a head of water, no idea for the time being. Black Sister is still on the side, found a mysterious box. There are strange symbols on it. The box must have something to do with the case. So, I brought it home. Black Sister handed the box to her daughter. I hope he can crack the stuff in it, because my daughter has been staying at home. I like to play with these secret things. The daughter is curious about the box, said it took some time to untie. I don't know what's hidden in it. The case of a mysterious murder. Let the never-before-seen Black Sister get up, but at this moment suddenly received the news of the murderer committing the crime again. When the police arrived at the scene, everyone was shocked by what was in front of them. Only 12 homeless people were made into Daphne's paintings. That one is called The Last Supper. The Last Supper, sister. But for whom?
You? Me? I?